The decision to determine the origin of Greek history is a tricky one. Before exploring the realities of archaeological evidence, it may be necessary to dive into the myths that Greeks themselves believed. And so, to understand the origin story of the ancient Greeks, we must cross the wine-dark sea of the Aegean and tell the legend of Troy. Mr. Seeger presents The Story of the Ancient Greeks. Episode 1. When does Greek history begin? Once upon a time in the ancient world, the city of Troy, located in Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey, stands as a beacon of wealth and power, unmatched by any on earth. But this mighty city becomes the center of a legendary conflict when a Trojan prince named Paris abducts Helen, the wife of a Greek king, and renowned as the most beautiful woman in the world. This act of betrayal ignites a firestorm of outrage in Greece, where Helen's husband calls upon the Greek city kingdoms to unite and reclaim his wife. In response, the greatest heroes of Greece answer the call. Achilles, known for his unmatched skill in battle. Odysseus, famed for his cunning. Ajax, a warrior of incredible strength, and many others. Leading this formidable force is Agamemnon, the king of Mycenae, who was chosen as the commander-in-chief of the Greek armies. With 1,000 ships assembled, the Greeks set sail for Troy, determined to bring Helen home. Thus begins the brutal and protracted Trojan War that rages for 10 long years, as the Greeks and Trojans clash in countless battles in the fields outside the legendary city. Despite their efforts, the Greeks cannot penetrate the fortified walls of Troy, and the stalemate drags on. Tradition holds that this epic conflict takes place between 1194 and 1184 BCE, culminating in one of the most famous deceptions. Desperate to claim victory, the Greeks devise a cunning plan. They build a massive wooden horse and hide their best warriors inside. Pretending to retreat, they leave the horse as an offering to the Trojans, who bring it into their city as a trophy. That night, while the Trojans celebrate their supposed victory, the hidden Greek soldiers emerge from the wooden horse and open the gates for the returning Greek army. Chaos ensues as the Greeks pour into the city, destroying Troy in a final devastating assault. They slaughter every Trojan man and enslave the women and children, leaving the once great city in ruins. Thus ends the tale of Troy, a story of love, betrayal, war, and cunning that has echoed through the ages as one of the most legendary conflicts in human history. Greek history begins with the myths and legends immortalized by Homer, the great poet of the 8th century BCE. Around 750 BCE, Homer composes 2 monumental works, the Iliad and the Odyssey, which recounts the half-legendary Trojan War. These poems not only mark the birth of Greek literature, but also serve as our earliest written record in the Greek language. Before Homer, no known Greek author or text exists. Yet, Homer and his Greeks claim lineage from a legendary race of heroes, warriors who sought the Golden Fleece and waged a 10-year war over the beautiful Helen of Troy. Throughout the remaining history of Western civilization, these tales told by Homer are thought to be purely fictional. This perception begins to change in 1871 when Heinrich Schliemann, a retired businessman and self-taught archaeologist, sets out to prove that the Trojan War is more than myth. Armed with Homer's Iliad as his guide, Schliemann travels to Turkey to search for the buried city of Troy. What he uncovers is extraordinary. 9 cities layered one on top of the other, like a massive archaeological cake. The earliest layer, Troy I, dates back to around 3500 BCE, a simple village. But Troy VI, a flourishing city from 1500 to 1100 BCE, bears signs of destruction and fits the timeline of the Trojan War, traditionally dated to 1194 to 1184 BCE. Can this be the Troy of legend? For the first time, the possibility of a historical Trojan War emerges. Elated by his success, Schliemann turns his attention to mainland Greece in 1876. There, he uncovers the ruins of Mycenae, a city described by Homer as the seat of King Agamemnon, the Greek commander-in-chief during the Trojan War. Mycenae, it turns out, has thrived during the same period as Troy VI, around 1500 to to 1100 BCE. Among the relics Schliemann finds are artifacts linking Mycenae to Troy, solidifying the idea that a war did indeed take place, probably not over Helen, but likely over control of lucrative trade routes to the Black Sea. Schliemann's discoveries push the timeline of Greek history back to 1500 BCE, revealing a vibrant Mycenaean civilization. But the story of Greek history does not stop there. In 1899, an English archaeologist named Sir Arthur Evans excavates a magnificent palace at Knossos on the island of Crete. This discovery reveals a civilization even older than Mycenae, dating back to around 3000 BCE. The Cretan civilization, often referred to as Minoan, is both advanced and opulent, with sprawling palaces and a sophisticated culture that influences the Mycenaeans. Thus, the timeline of Greek history extends far beyond Homer's poems in the 8th century BCE. It reaches back to the flourishing Mycenaean civilization of the year 1500 and even further, to the splendor of Minoan Crete around 3000 BCE. What began as myth has been uncovered as history, proving that the roots of Greek civilization run deeper and richer than anyone had imagined. In our next episode of The Story of the Ancient Greeks, we will explore the advanced, vibrant, and prosperous Minoan civilization, flourishing on the island of Crete, the earliest of the Greek civilizations.